be on the phone, calling you tonight. I wanna make you show me, make me know the fight. I don't want to sleep alone, wanna hold you tight, but I fool my eyes.
An interesting weekend it is right here in the city of Lagos. Welcome to EstiQ Media Podcast. My name is Esther Wachiku, and I must tell you that it's one of those weekends, okay? So precisely this edition is something soft and subtle, and it's just about how you are going to keep yourself entertained this weekend, the kind of series you can indulge in on Netflix. But first off, all right, this podcast is actually on Spotify, on iTunes and Amazon. So please, I would implore you to subscribe and download most of the content on Spotify. You can also share the link to any of your friends, especially if you love the content. And I would implore you to also make referrals and make comments on what you think about the content that you see right on this particular channel. So it's actually EstiQ Media Podcast on Spotify, EstiQ Media Podcast on Amazon, and on iTunes as well. Okay, and of course, the profile, if you want to know all about EstiQ Media, you can actually check it out on the website. It's www.estiqmedia.com. Once you go on the website, you get to see the profile of what the website offers you, what the company does. We consult, we train, we teach, and if you need content, especially you want to start off an online radio, we can actually consult for you and create programs, on your online radio. It just depends on the kind of theme or the demographic you want your online radio to satisfy. We can definitely do that research for you. We do voiceovers, we do trainings on basic radio presentation and television presentation as well, and all the etiquette, social etiquettes that is involved in the media space. Okay, we also encourage you to read and try to, as much as possible, to keep yourself well enlightened with all that is going on around you. Politically too, we also try to also divest, or rather delve into some angles of politics, especially in Nigeria. So all of that content, why do you need to waste the time? Just download it on Spotify, on iTunes, as well as on Amazon, and of course on the YouTube channel. You subscribe and follow and share. Like I said, amazing content for your consumption, and you can just enjoy it on the go. What are the interesting movies that we can actually indulge in this weekend? Specifically series, though, on Netflix, if you're not going to go to the cinema. Well, the number one on my list, because for me, I actually have 5. Now, the number one on my list, I love The Diplomat. I'm not going to mince words. I'm not going to try to, try to make it seem like I'm going to start from the bottom before I get to the top. No, I'm starting with number one. I loved The Diplomat. If you're really into politics, if you're really into how political strategy works and how countries get to do what they do, please, I implore you to indulge in The Diplomat. You'll get to see how British politics works. It's quite interesting, honestly speaking, that I was asking, when will the season 2 be out? Because I really needed to see when the season 2 will be out. The first season has 8 episodes. I devoured all of them. Like, I didn't step out of my corner or my bed. I didn't get up. I just stayed all through and watched it. It's a political drama, all right? And it actually ended with a cliffhanger. These people really wanted us to have that taste for more. They left us salivating, all right? It's created by Deborah Khan, who actually, the writer of Homeland and The West Wing. And The Diplomat stars Kerry Russell, who also played the role of Kate Weiler, a newly appointed U.S. diplomat in the UK, who is working with her husband, Hal Rufus Sewell, British Foreign Secretary Austin Dennison, whose name is David Gassill, her right-hand man Stuart Hayford, whose name is Atto Essendon, there's a bit of romance in it as well, and London CIA Chief Hydro Park, Ali Ann, to navigate the next step and figure out who is behind a British aircraft carrier explosion that killed dozens of sailors. And trust me, when I saw the final episode, that's the episode 8 in the season 1, I was like, what? Could it be true? Is it possible for that to happen? Like, for real? Please, enjoy it. Go and watch The Diplomat. It's actually quite interesting. Another series that I think you can also indulge in is Lockwood and Co. All right, so here it is. After an abrupt end to her ghost hunting training, Lucy Carlisle flees to London, where she meets two teens who run a paranormal investigative agency. So if you're really into paranormal activities, if you're really into paranormal movies, well, I would say Lockwood and Co. is the way to go. Quite an interesting one too, if you want to check it out. And it will also tell you that sometimes most of these series with their genre, well, I wouldn't like to use a thriller series, especially if you're into thriller, if you're into mystique, if you're into fantasy. Well, that's basically what it is. A girl with psychic abilities joins two teen boys to a ghost hunting agency, Lockwood and Co., to fight the deadly spirits plaguing London, doing their best to save the day without any adult supervision. And I must tell you, they actually tried. The supernatural detective thriller series is developed by Joe Cornish for Netflix, based on Jonathan Stroud's book series of Lockwood and Co. So there are several series of it if you read the book. And a couple of people actually waiting is, will there be a season 2 of Lockwood and Co? Well, I hope that comes in as soon as possible. But for now, we just have season 1. And it's quite an interesting watch. So if you want to get yourself indulged in that thriller, I would say that is basically your feel. Do watch it, enjoy yourself, and have fun. The next series as well is Florida Man. All right, it's quite an interesting series too. The Lincoln Lawyer, if you love it, although it trended more in 2022, but still present. It has its flair, it has its flavor, and I must tell you that it's quite a watch too. So The Last of Us is the most popular show of 2023 so far, but there are a number of Netflix shows competing for that title as well, which includes The Night Agent, Ginny and Georgia, You, and Outer Banks. Let me start with You. You now has its season 4 part 2 out. If you haven't watched You, if you know you're not into weirdo stuff, well, You is not for you, but it has its own mystery. It's quite interesting. It seems dull at the first instance. That's from the first episode of season 1 of You, but then over time we began to see how this particular character was unveiling, how a young man who is unassuming, you don't see him coming, is capable of the kind of crimes that were enacted in the series up until season 4. Now season 4 has 2 parts, part 1 and 2. So it tells you how they left their viewers salivating, wanting more, and they kept providing. So I would say You is quite an interesting one. It's not a character that I would want anyone to imbibe, because honestly speaking, it's a very weird character. A young man who has such potential, literally has a very good potential, but is capable of so much damage. There's psychological damage in that. I know some people may want to try to understand the psychology of that series, but hey, I don't know, just watch it for the fun of it and realize that there are freaky, weird people. You have to be very careful. Imagine somebody going out of their way to understand you just because somehow they're like dogs who imprint on you. Like you literally imprint on another human being, and you do everything within your power to know that person, to pursue that person, to know what the person is up to want to be part of that person's life, regardless of anything. You just want to be part of that person's life. That is You for you. So if you're into that, well, I would say you can actually go watch You. Another interesting one too, which also has its own flair, is The Night Agent. It's also a Britico kind of movie. It's actually quite interesting how a particular individual who was kind of saved the nation of a terrorist attack, and somehow he seemed to be a major suspect and was put as one of the night agents, almost somebody who is not necessarily important. And all of a sudden he picked up a call that changed the course of his life and his career, and was able to, we're able to see some political mystery evolve as that series went. So if you love such dramas. Well, that's it for you. The Night Agent is an interesting one to actually look at. Transatlantic 2 is another interesting series to look on Netflix. And like I said, these series are what you can just indulge in for the weekend, just Saturday and Sunday, because I wouldn't advise you to watch series on a weekday. But hey, at least try to just take yourself out of the reality of work during the week. And if you're doing your own thing, well, it's also not bad to indulge. So if you don't want to go to the cinema, if you don't want to take out a couple of friends and watch this series or these movies, well, how about you just stay in your house, subscribe to Netflix, and then watch the series. These are my own series. This is what I've actually watched and I liked it. So you can actually go watch it. So far, I would say that movie night is cool. Not so bad. It's actually cool. Okay, so that's it on this particular segment of EstiQ Media Podcast. It's actually just for us to entertain ourselves, and I just try to give you a little snippy preview into some series that you can look at and enjoy before Monday, your work day, or even if it's Monday evening or any time of the week and you're not going to be doing anything about work. Well, indulge and have fun and enjoy yourself. Bye for now. Remember to share, like, subscribe. We have amazing content for you.